Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Nerds with Friends. My name's Cody, I'm joined by Christian, as always.
See?
Left the last names out of this, so we're anonymous.
That's fine.
Not that anyone ever cares. You know, that's one thing, the show will really be a successful show once our identities get stolen. That's what I'm hoping for.
Once we become desirable?
Yeah, exactly. Once we get like iCloud leaks and stuff, it'll be just a bunch of pictures of me taking pictures of my beard in the mirror.
I'll have to delete the nudes you sent me.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you for coming back and listening, watching, however you ingest this podcast. We do appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Click down in the bottom on the YouTubes or on Apple iTunes, or I guess iTunes isn't a thing anymore.
It's not a thing?
I think it's just Apple Music now.
Oh.
An Apple podcast.
It shows how much I buy from Apple stuff.
And but Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, whatever, just follow us, subscribe to us. We do appreciate that. That helps us out. Gets us in front of some more ear holes, and that's the name of the game. Because we're in the podcast biz, baby. And if you want to take it one step further, check out patreon.com/nerdswithfriends. And you can subscribe or help become a patron of ours. Help buy new mic cables, things like that. So we do appreciate that as well. On today's docket, we don't really have a set plan. We have a couple things we want to talk about. Mainly like what the expectations are of the new Obi Wan Kenobi show are. By the time you're listening to this, episodes 1 and 2 will be out. So we thought we'd do this. We'd set our expectations and then see how wrong we were next week when you guys listen to it. So we'll be talking a little bit about that later.
How dare you, Cody? We have a special guest right here in the middle that you haven't addressed. So we came into the studio, and producer Rick is always buying toys and selling.
You see a lot of these that we're surrounded by.
But I feel like the stuff behind us never really changes. It's usually stuff around you can't
the top.
see.
Yeah.
And I saw this gem today, and I was like, "Yo, we have to talk about this." How can we not talk about this?
So, if you're on YouTube, this you can definitely see this. This is Anti-Eternia He-Man, and then subtitle: The Most Evil Man in the Universe.
And for those watching on YouTube, it made him black.
Yeah. For those listening who can't see it on YouTube, he's like jet black.
And not only that, but they made him a ginger as well.
Yeah, he's
double whammy.
Double whammy, yeah. Redheaded, super black guy. Yeah,
I was just like, when I saw it, I was thinking, minstrel He-Man? Like, what is good? Like, the only thing that's missing is the black lips and, like, the gloves, dude. Right. It's pretty bad.
Well, so we look at the picture on the back here, and you can tell what they're going for.
Yeah, no, like,
it just doesn't translate. Like, he's made of shadow. Like, I get that. I get what they're trying to do. But, like, when you make a toy out of it, it's pretty bad. And the 80s were a wild time.
But I don't think this was. Oh no, yeah, they're remaking it from the 80s.
I'm pretty sure they're remaking it.
But it just goes to show that no one, like, there was no decision maker that was like,
yeah, exactly.
Maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah, it was. It was just like that. That went past like several panels of people like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Let's do that. Let's see if I can pull it up on the old YouTube here. Hold on. I haven't set it up yet. But it was pretty funny that that made it past all the approvals, and no one raised any questions on
I agree with you. The artwork in the back, like there, I was like, oh, I see what they were trying to do.
Yes.
Like they were like trying to do
good intentions, but very, very poor execution.
Like one of the newer Spider-Man villains, I think it was Mr. Negative. Where it's him reversed. I mean, I get it.
Hold on, the screen will go black for a second, but it'll pop up with the thing that we want here. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. So yeah, here's a picture of him for those of you guys on the old YouTube. So let's get some images going. Yeah.
See, like that one in the bottom, like that one I get, like the artwork.
Like this guy right here. Like I understand that. It looks cooler in like cartoon form. This one looks pretty rough. But then we look at the actual. Here we go. Yeah. Pretty bad. pretty bad indeed. But, you know, like I said, man, the 80s were a different time. They were trying stuff out.
Yep.
You know?
A lot of cocaine.
A lot of cocaine. A lot of poor decisions.
We're just going to leave them there for now.
Yeah. But I will say, aside from the obvious racist overtones, I will say that these like reissued ones that they're doing are very cool.
Yeah.
Like they're very well done. You can't see it's out of frame, but there's a whole mess of them up there, including Castle Grayskull, Battle Cat, all the good stuff. So if you're into He-Man, it's a good time to be a He-Man fan, unless you're watching that show that Kevin Smith did. In that case,
I finished it and I don't even remember it. I saw the second half.
I started watching the second half. I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? All right, Christian. Well, let's do some nerdy confessions. We went on long enough about racist He-Man. Let's confess the things that make us nerds. Why don't you lead us off?
Nerdy confession is I'm gonna see if I can make it happen. I was super busy, but I think I'm gonna start collecting some newer comics, and it's because in July they're doing obviously Disney bought Fox,
right?
So they got the Predator. So they're gonna pit the Predator against a lot of Marvel superheroes.
Yeah,
and they're gonna have some variant cover arts. They're probably not gonna be worth much, but I fucking love the Predator.
I feel like I have a Predator versus Batman one from back in the day.
Yeah, there was some stuff done in the 80s, but now they're gonna put him against Captain America, Black Widow,
nice.
Miles Morales, Thor, Jane Foster's Thor, Hulk.
Both of those, yeah, and the Hulk. Like Predator has no chance.
I mean, the only thing is, like, I guess if they make the Predator kind of like Batman, where like he studied his game and they make some weapons.
He discovered how to, kill Hulk who can't be killed.
Or I don't know, maybe some weapon that turns him into Bruce. But then if you do that, it's not really sport for them. So
exactly.
Most of those I could see it. I mean, obviously the heroes are going to win. I would be interested to see how Captain America, knowing nothing about Predator, I'm sure he'd still win.
Yeah.
But it'd be an interesting battle.
Right.
Black Widow would be a good battle.
I mean, Punisher would just basically be the movie Predator.
Yeah. Yeah, it would.
Basically.
It'd be Dutch, only the same as
and
the
then
person.
he teams up with Captain America. He's like, you son of a bitch. Does the big hand clap.
Beefy bicep. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I don't think there's going to be anything crazy. He might end up killing maybe someone.
Yeah,
but I'm down. Like I super want to buy these. So now I'm like looking at a
Predator
comic book store.
Deadpool could be very funny.
They would, but I feel like actually it would be funny because they're gonna be like, why can't we kill this fucking asshole?
Yeah, exactly.
If they knew nothing about him,
and then Deadpool would like join them and become a Predator. Also, he's like, this is fun. So what are we doing?
Actually, yeah. Now
are we invisible?
It would be pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, we're so invisible right now. Yeah, that would be fun. I recently rewatched the two Deadpool movies, and they are a delight.
Yeah, dude. I hope so. I hope Disney does do one.
Right.
I feel the success of Doctor Strange and how like it wasn't rated R, but it was darker, and how much money it made. Like I feel it might push Disney closer to doing it. So
what's strange is Doctor Strange. You know what's strange is Doctor Strange. You know what is strange is that the movie Doctor Strange is getting really mixed reviews. A lot of people are not happy with it.
I mean, yeah, I've seen some people I even follow who normally I agree with their opinion, and like I almost retweeted some stuff like I don't know what movie you saw, or but I was like, nah, I guess I won't. Just I won't say anything. But
yeah,
I think a lot of it is you must hate Sam Raimi. I mean, or if that's the only thing. If you don't like Sam Raimi movies, then I can get that. But some people were just saying like that they didn't like the girl. What was her name? Yeah, America. That like
America Chavez.
I was like, oh, she was just the victim, and like she just needed a dude to save her. I was like, well, do we have to? I mean, like, we're introducing her. She doesn't have her powers yet. You know,
right.
She's going to be strong eventually.
Yeah, if she's up against the Scarlet Witch, she's going to be the victim for most of it. You know, because
and that was the other thing.
Freaking Doctor Strange is the victim halfway for most of the movie too.
Yeah,
you know?
That was the other thing about the Scarlet Witch. Like, oh, she's just this crazy woman who's just like wants to be a mom and she's insane. I'm like, well no, you didn't see WandaVision?
Yeah,
like she's suffering. Like,
yeah,
it
but
actually
also,
makes sense. Like,
also, yeah, and I think that's a big thing is they're like, oh, you know, it undoes her arc from WandaVision. And it's like,
no, it doesn't. She has the dark hold now.
Yeah, the dark hold is obviously corrupting her. So, yeah, I don't know.
Like all the things, all the negative stuff I've read about, I'm like, well, I hate to be the actually, but you know,
actually,
yeah, like, you know, it does make sense. I don't know. I fucking loved it. I watched it twice. I'd be down to watch it a third time. Like it was
third game.
It was fucking dope.
My nerdy confession. So I went and saw the movie Men last night, and it looked interesting. It's like, you know, a horror movie, you know, where this lady's like in this house by herself, and looks very creepy. But it's by the studio A24, who does a lot of like independent films, right? Yeah. And so the problem with a lot of these A24 movies is that, you know, it's not the actual movie's fault, right? But the studio wants people to see it, and so they want to make it super interesting. So a lot of times they'll craft trailers that make them appear to be a different movie than what they actually are. And I feel like Men was definitely a victim of this, because it's kind of sold as like this straight up creepy horror movie, but it devolves into a crazy, like almost psychedelic internal conflict type deal. And by the end of it, I was just like, what is happening?
Should I watch it?
Yes, I'd say though. I mean,
should I watch it in the theater or wait for streaming?
I will say this: it is beautiful. Like the cinematography is beautiful. She's like this lady. She's staying in like this English countryside manor that she's like Airbnb-ing or something, and like she goes walking through the forest and stuff, and it's gorgeous. So in that sense, maybe it would be kind of fun to see it in theaters. But besides that, like, I don't know. I feel like you'll get to the end of it and be like, what the fuck was that? Because the ending is very abrupt and we don't actually find out what's going on. But there are some very cool parts of the movie. So here's a little slight spoilers if you're trying to see the movie. But I won't ruin anything too crazy, because there's not really anything to ruin because the plot is so up to interpretation. But essentially, this lady, her husband kills himself, and she's obviously very distraught by this, though they were getting a divorce. And so basically, you kind of find out that, like, you know, they were having marital problems. She wanted to get a divorce. He's like, well, if you divorce me, I'll kill myself. And then he did. And so she kind of went away to this cottage, this country home, to kind of get away from everything, you know, relax, reset, you know, emotionally kind of heal herself a little bit. And while she's at this cottage, she's there's like the guy who rents the cottage to her. I guess it's not really a cottage. I don't know. It's a house in the countryside. There's a guy who rents it to her named Jeffrey. Then there's like people in town. There's a stalker guy that she meets that, like, you know, that's stalking her.
I'm assuming that's the guy on the poster.
Well, here's the thing, Christian. They're all the guy on the poster. All of the people in the town, all the men, are played by the same guy. And it's cool. Like, when you start noticing it, you're like, oh, what the fuck?
Okay.
And then, yeah, it's kind of a slow burn. It starts building, getting creepier and creepier. I will say this. If you're watching it, you're going to see some dicks.
Nice.
There's going to be a couple dicks in it, at least.
Same dick? Same actor?
Well, there's actually you do see the husband's dick too, so it's two different dicks.
Okay.
But a lot of it for sure. And then there's some weird like body horror stuff too, that happens towards the end. That was very very graphic. And the funniest part is, so I actually took a lady on a date to go see this movie.
Oh, and this is what we're not talking about this?
No, we're not talking about this.
No, we're talking about it now.
We'll talk about it eventually, Christian, okay? But
wait, does she listen?
Yeah, well, that's another thing. Yes, I showed her the podcast.
Nice.
I waited a while because I'm like, we make some off-color jokes on this show, Christian.
So you had to wait till you knew she was cool.
Yeah. I was like,
oh, she's cool.
She's cool. She's like, I'm listening to the woke episode. I'm like, why did she pick that one first?
That's the one where you're like, is this going to work? Is it not going to work?
I know. I was waiting until we had like a chunk of episodes that were just like, oh, what's Spider-Man going to do next? You know? So yeah, anyway. Yes, sorry, you may notice that the camera looks different if you're watching on YouTube, but, having some technical difficulties. But yeah, so we went on a nice date, and then we saw this movie, and by the end of it, we're like, that was not a good date movie.
Which was Men.
Yeah.
So you picked the movie.
No, first of all, I did not. I mean, I agreed to go see the movie because I'm like, yeah, that movie seems cool, but she wanted to see that movie. But without spoiling the whole movie for yourself, it's hard to know exactly how crazy it's going to be. But yeah,
if I was going, I would just so uncomfortable. Like, man, watching a movie where all men are villains, and I'm here on a date, and like I could just imagine her just be like, just turning to look at you like, is that really what you do?
Yeah, yep, yeah, we're pieces of shit. That's right. No, it was still a very nice time. But definitely not. It would have been much more fun if it was like, Doctor Strange or
Sonic 2
or, something. But it was, if you're going to go see that movie and you're going out with your, significant other or whatever, maybe pick a different one, kind of ruin the mood a little.
Yeah, I'm engaged. So it's like, if she looks at me for anything, like, what you signed up for.
So here one of the scenes that encapsulates what happened perfectly, how the movie was perfectly, is she's talking to this pastor guy who, again, played by the same actor, and she was like crying at the church, and so he comes to kind of console her, and he was like, is it about your husband? She's like, how do you know about that? Kind of creepy vibes. And he's like, well, you crying in the church. I figured, it was him. He's like, yeah, well, he hit me, and then he killed himself. He's like, well, did you give him a chance to apologize? And she's like, what? And he's like, men hit women sometime, but you didn't give him a chance to apologize and explain himself. And it was just like, oh no.
What I thought you were going to say was much worse. It'd be like, well, what'd you do? You must have done something.
I mean, that's kind of what he was inferring, but, yeah. It's definitely, definitely paints us in a poor light, that movie, for sure. There's another one where there's like this younger boy, and he's just like, you're a fucking bitch. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome.
Out of nowhere?
Well, no, he was doing some really creepy little kid stuff. Because first of all, he has the man's face CG'd on him, which is very creepy. And then he was wearing like when she walks up, he's wearing like a blonde lady mask, but like a real like cartoony lady mask. And he's like, you want to play hide and seek with me? I bet you're a really good hider. Or something like that. And I'm a very good seeker. And it was like, ugh, gross. Yeah. So interesting.
There's no kids that speak like that. Who the fuck speaks? There's no kids.
I mean, I'm doing a voice, Christian.
No. But I'm not the voice, but like
the things he says.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it was just meant to be creepy and off-settling for sure.
Did it have the man's voice?
Yeah, but
it was just kind of like
but higher. Yeah. But I will say this: I'm glad I saw the movie. I did overall enjoy it. It was very strange. And when you watch it, and I hope you do, let me know what you thought of the end.
All right. If you want me to watch it, I'll watch it. Yeah. I don't know if I go to the movie theaters and watch it.
Yeah, I know. Wait till it comes out on Apple TV or whatever. All righty. Well, that was some exciting technical difficulties. I think we went through 3 before the break in the podcast. So hopefully, signs of good things to come. We're going to take a quick little break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking a little bit about what our expectations are for Kenobi, a Star Wars story. We'll be right back. And we're back. Okay, so as of right now, you guys are listening to this, watching this, enjoying it, showing your friends and family this episode. First 2 episodes of Kenobi are out. I think there's going to be a total of 6. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
I believe so.
I think that's what I read.
Not enough, as we like to call it in the biz. Not enough episodes. I have high hopes for this. Obi Wan Kenobi is one of my favorite characters in the Star Wars, universe. And I hope that they do him correctly. I hope that they don't, completely change him for the sake of some new story they want to tell. I hope it's like, by the end of it, we feel like we're leading up to old Ben Kenobi, Sir Alec Guinness from A New Hope. So,
you know what sucks? I was reading about him. I heard he was like a garbage person.
Sir Alec Guinness?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was just hanging out in the desert all the time, Didn't he?
No, like I was reading stories like people were saying like you would go out to dinner with him. He was like, "Oh, I'll order for everyone." He'd ask you what you wanted and be like, "You're not eating that," and then he would order something else.
Yeah, men are just different nowadays. Some would say less good. Some would say we've fallen off, but. Yeah.
And what are you going to do? It's fucking, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're going to eat what he fucking tells you.
I mean, he's using his Jedi mind tricks, obviously. You will have the salad.
Like, now,
I guess I'll have the salad.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a dick about it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure I wanted the steak, but I guess I'll have the salad.
Yeah. Those stormtroopers in A New Hope weren't actually being Jedi mind tricked. They were just really non-confrontational.
They're just like, oh.
You're right, man. These aren't the droids we're looking for. Just move along. Get out of here.
Actually, would have been hilarious.
After they walked away, it's like, dude, fuck these guys. I don't get paid enough for this.
Fucking change the lines on the spot.
Yeah. So I think from what we've seen in the trailer so far, we're going to have, Obi-Wan Kenobi hanging out in Tatooine. And I think at one point he says it's been 10 years since, the whole events of Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
So we probably got like a 10-year-old Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, they showed the kid.
The kid, yeah.
So you look about 10.
Which is funny because if that's the case, that kid goes from that 10-year-old kid to Mark Hamill in like 6 years.
Oh, he's 16.
I think he's supposed to be 16.
I thought he was 18. Okay.
Maybe it was. Maybe I'm off by a couple years. But
not only that, like that's hard desert.
A lot of sun damage.
Yeah. Happens to
just the Tatooine dual suns do just wreak havoc on the skin.
No sunblock.
Yeah, Tatooine. Exactly. A healthy diet of blue milk and vitamin D just turn him into a 26-year-old man overnight. But then now we have these Sith Inquisitors who are out hunting Jedi and trying to track them down. So I am excited that they're bringing those into the live action world because we've seen the Sith Inquisitors both in
video game,
Jedi Fallen Order, as well as comic books and Star Wars Rebels, the animated show.
Yeah.
So I am glad we're getting to see like a live action representation. People have been kind of hating on their character design, but like, calm down.
I'm not gonna lie. When I did have a knee jerk reaction when I did see the one Inquisitor guy from Rebels,
the bald guy.
Yeah, but it's like I rather still see a person in prosthetics than a CG really thin faced,
right?
That looks much more like the cartoon, which
that's my position is I've always not been a fan of the art style of those cartoons.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it doesn't look like him. I want him to look more realistic.
Although Cad Bane was fucking dope, and to me, he looked amazing. And fuck the people who are saying he didn't look amazing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, people were complaining about that too. I'm like, no, he looks better than in the freaking cartoon. So calm down. You just like bad things, so just don't ruin what we like. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see him fight. We also see, like, one thing that's kind of interesting is we don't see him fight with a lightsaber in the trailer.
Well, no.
I don't think.
No, he has the dual spinning. Or
No, Obi Wan Kenobi.
Oh, well, he's going to.
Yeah, I hope so.
He doesn't like guns.
But he does use guns in the trailer.
Yeah, but they're primitive, so
yeah, an elegant weapon.
Yeah, so he'll probably he has to.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. But now, one thing too, Hayden Christensen famously has reprised his role as Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader.
I'm excited about it.
I'm excited about it too. Now, how much of him do you think we'll actually see?
Face, you mean, or Vader costume?
Vader in general.
I'm hoping at least 3 episodes, but I feel like that's going to be much. I'd be fine if the first half they don't show him, they mention him, but I'm hoping at least for the last 3, it's heavy him. Hopefully we get a fight between them, but it's going to have to be a standstill, obviously, because we need them to be in the movies. Although that, I think I'd feel like I'd be asking for much to get a fight scene. I think everyone's going to want one. I don't know if we're going to get one.
Yeah. I've been hurt before by these series where, I feel like, we have these huge expectations and then they fall short. And I know this is Star Wars compared to Marvel, like we did our last episode about Marvel, last episode or 2 episodes ago, about Marvel shows falling short. But, I think that I'm not going to get my hopes up for some awesome Vader heavy, show. I think, honestly, at most, we're probably going to get a couple scenes of him talking to Inquisitors and then maybe like a brief like interaction between the two of them on like the last episode. But I don't think it's going to be a lightsaber fight. I hope it is.
I hope, but I don't.
I hope it is. But
very quick, since you mentioned last week's episode, thank you, Thunder Levin, for listening. He says, because we were talking about the shows, and he said that he thought Hawkeye was vastly exceeding expectations, or exceeded expectations.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So that's he does Sharknadoes. So he listens. So thank you for listening.
Sharknadoes.
The fucking crazy ass Sharknadoes.
Movies?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you. Thank you for listening. What do you mean he does them?
He wrote them 1 through 4.
Okay.
And director of many other films.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Well, thank you for listening. That's awesome. I did think Hawkeye was good, and I liked the the camaraderie between the two characters.
Yeah, my biggest thing was how the Kingpin
was
treated. But
that was really dumb, but it's fine.
I'm hoping if Disney continues it, which I hope they do, we do get a rated R. It's not going to work if it's not that dark.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, back to Star Wars. Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those ones where they get us excited by saying Hayden's coming back, and we see in the trailer, he's putting on the suit and whatnot. But I feel like Vader's going to be very minimal.
Probably. I mean, he's obviously can't find out about Luke.
Right. I would say he can't find out that Obi Wan Kenobi's on Tatooine.
Yeah, he would go after him.
Right. So I don't know how this is going to happen.
If anything, it's going to be the Inquisitors following up on what's something. It's not going to be Obi-Wan related, and then Obi-Wan's just going to have to fucking kill them all.
Yeah.
In order for them not to find out.
Now, here's a question for you. Do you think we'll get a little taste of Ahsoka Tano?
Yeah. I don't think it's that far of a stretch because we saw her in I was going to say Mandalorian. We saw her. Well, we did see her in Mandalorian, but we also saw her again in Boba.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's that much of a stretch. Now, my question to you is, do you think we'll get, oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. Darth Maul.
Ooh. Here's the thing with Darth Maul. I think if you watch Star Wars Rebels,
yes,
he got a very good
ending.
It was Rebels, right?
Mm-hmm. The end of Rebels.
Right. He got a very good ending with Obi Wan Kenobi in that show.
That to me, I saw someone. I think it was. Dave Filoni.
Sure.
Talking about like how Obi-Wan changed his fighting styles because he remembered like the first battle, and that's why it wasn't like that much of a big back and forth. I mean, I think it would be fucking epic to get it live action.
100%, it would be. I would, as they say in, I don't remember what they said it in, but I would fucking cream my jeans if that happened, man. It was, I mean, because that was such a pivotal moment in Obi-Wan's life as a Jedi.
Yeah.
It would be so cool, but I can't see them doing it in this story just because, we would have seen a hint of Darth Maul in some of these trailers.
No, unless they want to keep it secret.
But yeah, but also it's like, how does that story, if it seems like the whole story is going to be Inquisitors, Vader, and Kenobi.
Yeah.
Right? How does Maul fit into that whole thing? You know
Revenge.
what I mean?
Just simply wants to come in.
He just shows up. He's just like, hey, remember me? He's like, oh, what? You didn't have anything to do with the plot.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I do not care. I would still love it.
Or if like, how about this, Christian? End of the season. Because right now they're saying it's a mini series. It's not a show, right?
I don't want to talk about it.
But what if after credits scene they're like, he's just like Kenobi, and you see the two things come out, and it says Obi Wan Kenobi will return for season 2. Cream jeans.
I would love it.
Yeah.
Even if they don't do his voice, even if you don't see the dual lightsaber, even if you just see his stupid little drone that he had from the first movie when he was on Tatooine, even if it was just
you just see the back of his head with the horns.
Yeah, even that, like that, I'd be fine. Yeah. Or even if it's just the hood, he doesn't take it off, like where you can leave it open. Anything that would give me hope that there would be another one, I'd be fine.
And here's one thing I'll say. Part of the reason I'm so excited for this, I think that Ewan McGregor is hands down the best part of the prequel trilogy.
For sure.
Right? Him as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Although I did love Qui-Gon Jinn. Even though
Qui-Gon Jinn was cool, for sure. I mean, he got taken out like a punk in the first episode, but I, as a whole, if we're looking at all the people through those things, I think Ewan McGregor really nailed his portrayal of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'm excited to see him reprise it. I'm hesitant because it's something I love, and sometimes they ruin things that I love.
I say just have this. I don't know if Filoni did he do it. Did he do this series?
Dave Filoni,
or just have him and whoever else was tied to Mando do everything moving forward.
Jon Favreau.
Yeah, just have those two do it. They know what they're doing. Let them fucking go. Actually, I just remembered one thing.
Yeah.
Your favorite Kathleen Kennedy said she was in an interview and they were mentioned, Han Solo. She's like, yeah, in hindsight, like I've learned to realize that Star Wars fans, we should not recast characters that people love. And since we're talking about Obi-Wan, yeah, you're absolutely right. Because everyone hates Ewan McGregor. Like, as fucking Obi-Wan. Yeah, that was the issue with Han Solo.
Right. I mean, yeah, I don't think the whole thing with the the Han Solo, like, I forget what the actor's name was, but he was definitely not the problem with that movie. You know what I mean? It was not that he wasn't like Han Solo enough. It was just that the movie was a little lackluster, and he had some like really cringeworthy like lines and stuff. Like, I don't have a last name, Han Solo. Yeah,
that was
just
pretty
like,
bad.
Get out of here. It looks like all these are directed by Deborah Chow. I don't know what she has been a part of. I would hope. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't see Filoni anywhere on here. Maybe he's like an executive producer or something. Let's see. Deborah Chow. Film or television. She's done. Marvel's Iron Fist. Great. Fear the Walking Dead. Marvel. She did a couple episodes of Marvel's Jessica Jones. Okay, that's good. Lost in Space. I liked that show. She did a couple of Better Call Saul, Man in the High Castle. The Mandalorian. She did chapter 3 and chapter 7. And then she did all of Obi Wan. Okay, so she's had some good one. Ooh, she also directed Red Hot Chili Peppers' Black Summer music video. Fuck yeah. And she was Sash Ketter. She had a little cameo in The Mandalorian Chapter 6. Cool. Yeah, I think that's one thing that kind of shows Kathleen Kennedy's like lack of awareness around Star Wars and what Star Wars is, right? And I think 100% that's what those sequel trilogies really showed us, was that where someone like a Kevin Feige understands the big picture and what people want for the most part.
Yeah.
Now, no one bats 1,000. No one, hits it out of the park every single time.
There's an Iron Man 3 every year.
Yeah. Yeah, there's an Iron Man 3 and an Iron Man 2 and Iron Fist. I didn't want to put that in front of your face. I was afraid of knocking it over. But in general, Kevin Feige as like the head of the MCU has led it in a positive direction, where Kathleen Kennedy in general has led Star Wars into a negative direction, right? Anything that she is solely in charge of, which is movies, like she is really a big part of that. But when she hands the reins to someone who respects the content, like Filoni and Favreau, like what they did with The Mandalorian, awesome. You know what I mean? But
it's not that Cody is sexist.
No, I just hate Kathleen Kennedy.
It's just her specifically.
Yeah, her specifically and her dumb face. Speaking of, the Bryce Dallas Howard
she killed
episodes
it
of The Mandalorian were fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think I read something saying that like fans are clamoring for her to do like her own Star Wars movie.
I'd be down.
I'd be down as fuck.
Yeah,
because
she did the super Western one, right, in the Village.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think it was the Seven Samurai.
Yeah, or
Magnificent Seven, whatever.
Seven, yeah.
I think that was her episode, if I'm not mistaken. And she did another one too. I don't recall. I think she did 2, and they were both fantastic. And I mean, I get it. Like more goes into it than just the director, but like they were shot beautifully.
Speaking of which, I just saw not the newest Jurassic Park, but the second one. I hadn't seen it, and I was like, God damn it! Like, why? She directs great things, and she's hot as hell.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not fair.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's grown up in Hollywood. She's been surrounded by it her entire life.
Yeah.
She's probably picked up a few things. I'm sure Dad showed her a couple directing tips. You know what I mean? He's like, thank God you didn't get my hair, but here, let me show you how to work a camera. But
I would be super down of her getting a show.
Yeah. A show or a movie, I'm down. And I think
it sucks if she got the one. What's the girl that got fired? That dumb.
Gina Carano.
Yeah. I forgot the character's name, but if she got that show, I was like, oh, canceled.
Yeah. No, I think what Disney needs to do is they need to recognize when they have a talent by judging fan reaction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you could. I think there's this disconnect where like, so and so has this cool directing style, they've won this award or whatever, but we're not looking at fan reaction. Fan reaction should, at the end of the day, be what you're gauging everything on, because fans are the ones who go to the movies. Fans are the ones who pay for subscriptions and buy merch and stuff like that. Where if not, sometimes you have like where Chloe Zhao, right, who made an excellent movie, but then they're like, oh, maybe she could do the Eternals. But you don't look at what the movie she did and how it would relate to the Marvel.
Yeah, but we've talked about this before. Like, there's been some
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, there's been some high risk that's paid off. Taika Waititi, Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson.
Yeah, that's
who's
true.
had like some low budget horror films.
Just gotta take a chance, But just also, when you take a chance and it doesn't work out, just don't keep going.
Yeah,
down that road.
I don't know if I'd put the blame so much of Eternals on the director.
No,
as like a lot of the writing.
I'm sure the writing.
And there was way too many characters, way too much.
Yeah,
it would have been.
And the
way
Eternals
better.
just suck.
It would have been. It would have been.
Sorry, they're just like a less interesting Inhumans / X-Men / New Gods.
I think if it was like a show and it had more than 6 episodes, then it would have been cool. Yeah. And they could have focused on one character like each episode, then it would have been dope.
Right. Yeah. All right, back to Kenobi. What are your worst fears about the show? Like, if everything goes wrong, what happens?
I don't know, man. It would be hard for me, and this will probably be predicting when we judge it, but like, I actually love Ewan McGregor. I feel like even if it's something bad, I'm still gonna like his performance.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, obviously it could still go wrong.
Right.
I mean, I feel like the worst thing they could do is have very to no little Vader. I think would be one of the worst.
Yeah.
You know? I would be fine with 2 episodes of him. I would hope for 3, and if he's in every episode, that'd be amazing. But I think if they have Kenobi with no lightsaber at all, like, that would be pretty bad.
Like, he puts it away in the first episode. He's like, never again. Yeah, and then it's just him like being a normal dude.
Or if they do like the wizard persona, you know, this is why people think he's a, you know, desert wizard or something.
Exactly. I think my greatest fear would be if they like fundamentally change his character somehow, or we don't get a Kenobi that feels like the Obi-Wan from the first 3 or episode 4. You know, because I've seen that happen before. I think the most egregious one was Picard, the show that they made.
Really?
With Patrick Stewart. Not Jon Stewart, Patrick Stewart. Yeah, so they made the show Picard, which is supposed to be, you know, following Jean-Luc Picard after his time in Starfleet when he's an old man. And it just like, watching that show, it was definitely like clear to me that the people who wrote it did not understand what made Jean-Luc Picard so lovable as a character. You know, they like his whole deal always was he was the diplomat, right? You know, Kirk was the cowboy, the guy who jumps into danger, and you know, the Han Solo who, like, you know, cheats and lies his way out of things. You know what I mean? But Picard was always very measured, very like diplomatic, and he's always trying to understand his enemy and, you know, diffuse the situation. And the show just like never really got to that point. It just had like this whole cast of other characters around him, and like, you know, there's a lot of like, you know, things where it's like, oh, he's falling in love with this Romulan lady who's been his housekeeper this whole time. And it's like, I mean, it's nice to see Jean-Luc have like a nice little happily ever after, but it's like, I also wanted him to go like get involved in like an alien freaking civil war or something and diffuse the whole thing, and like, you know, see varying perspectives and stuff. That's what I always really liked about him. And so I hope they don't do that with Kenobi, where, you know, he's always been this, you know, guy who's felt guilty for, you know, Anakin's fall to the dark side. And, you know, if they change that somehow, where basically, you know, he's like, he doesn't feel guilty about it, and he's like, you know, he's blaming like the Emperor or something, or he has some sort of, you know, major character shift where he's like no longer the Obi-Wan we know and love. That would be the worst thing for me. And I think you're right. If there's no lightsaber and no force paddles, you know, like, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
But I feel like they have to, even particularly with the Inquisitors. Yeah. And I feel like if they're really going to stick to one season, he has to kill them all. Yeah. Like, he has to kill them all. Dude,
if best case scenario, if Obi-Wan Kenobi just kills all the Sith Inquisitors one by one, God, I'd watch the shit out of that show.
Each episode is like a video game. He takes out one boss till he gets to the final boss.
Yeah, exactly. Next challenger. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be fucking sweet. Yeah. So what's one thing that you absolutely have to see in this show to make it a success for you?
More Vader and like the lightsaber battle, man. Like for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be cool if you saw him like even if it's the last episode, if he's talking to Force Ghost Yoda, like that would be. Or no, and actually he's not dead at that point, but Qui-Gon Jinn, sorry, because
Qui-Gon, yeah.
Like at least in the cartoon, Qui-Gon figures out the Force Ghost stuff, so it'd be cool if he made an appearance. I don't know if they would fuck with Qui-Gon, at least Holly was not too big of a fan of what's his name,
Liam Neeson,
since that whole racist stuff he had said. So who knows if they would do it.
Yeah,
but it'd be cool because Qui-Gon is the one who figured out the. Well,
I think we've all learned, Christian, that Hollywood doesn't really care about racist stuff.
They care the image.
Yeah, they're like Star Wars fandom kind of overwrites a lot of that stuff, so they'd be like, "Man, we gotta sell some action figures." Yeah, I think that would be cool, like a little Force Ghost taster at the end.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do it, but it would be
dope. Producer Rick sent us a message during this thing saying that there's going to be a CG Alec Guinness Obi-Wan in the last episode.
Oh.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know how I feel about that either.
Speaking of CG dead people, you hear about the Stan Lee?
No. What about Stan Lee?
Okay, so I don't really like this. But I guess it depends on how they implement it and kind of what how do I put this? Like, depending on how they implement it, it could be kind of nice and touching, or it could be terrible.
God damn it, man. Tell me what it is.
Oops. What is that? I don't know. Okay, so basically Marvel Studios has signed a deal with Stan Lee's, like, let's see. I'm trying to find the new deal between Marvel Genius Brands International and POW Entertainment's joint venture Stan Lee Universe to license Lee's likeness in future films, TV productions, theme parks, and merchandise. Quote here is, "It really ensures that Stan, through digital technology and archival footage and other forms, will live in the most important venue, the Marvel movies and the Disney theme parks." That's Andy Hayward, chairman and CEO of Genius Brands. It's a broad deal. This doesn't necessarily mean that Stan Lee cameos will return through CGI. It's unclear whether there's even an appetite for them, but certainly means Lee could return through figures, clothing, VR experiences, and the like. The deal runs for 20 years.
So we could see him in like a Disneyland ride or something.
Yeah. And like, in that sense, like, I can almost understand it because, they have the Hall of Presidents, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the problem with the whole Stan Lee CGI thing is that, to me, it just feels gross. And it's hard to really quantify that, but it feels not good.
I could argue either side, I feel, successfully.
Right.
But I don't know which one I agree with.
So I think
because I think what you said earlier, like, people, we miss him,
right?
And it as a tribute, and we would love to see more of him. And I know there's actually, I don't know what company, but they're working on, like, basically they can take all your digital traces and all your information, everything you've ever purchased, anything you've ever said, that would be online or in the phone, and you could put it into a computer, and it could basically, like, your personality would be there to the point where
like
eventually
that episode of Black Mirror.
Yes, basically
with Haley Atwell.
Basically to the point where, like, if you take everything Einstein had ever said and like you
make an artificial intelligence based off of him,
and you can have a conversation.
Yeah,
like, I get that. Like, it would be cool. I would love to talk to Stan Lee, and then you can feed this program new information of things that are happening, and see how you would feel about it. But at the same time, it's kind of gross,
right?
Like, in the sense of, like, let the dude rest,
Well, here's my take: is like,
or family members,
right,
like,
right. And so, like, we have we've seen a little bit of this kind of stuff where like in what's it called? Rogue One. We got Grand Moff Tarkin, right?
Yep.
But to me that's okay because it's a character.
Right.
We're not saying that this is, I forget that guy's name. But he was like Alec Guinness's friend or something. But we're not showing him. This Stan Lee is a person, a real person.
Yeah.
And if we're just trying to like put him in movies as Stan Lee to make money off of him, I don't know, it feels gross, but anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of an interesting little news story. But going back, finishing up on Kenobi, I'm excited for it. I hope it's good, but only time will tell. Hopefully we'll be talking a little bit more about this as the series goes on. Let us know down in the comments what you guys think. Were we right? Were we wrong? Has there been a bunch of cool Darth Maul lightsaber battles already and we're just totally out there? But let us know down in the comments. We do appreciate those. Like and subscribe while you're down there. It helps us out a lot. And if you really want to help us out, check out patreon.com/nerdswithfriends and become a patron today so we can buy a camera that doesn't shut off 3 times when recording. So,
or figure out what software to use.
Yeah, exactly.
Or hire an intern.
Also, if you know about long form recording like we do for this show, which we basically record for an hour, and you know some of the tricks and hacks to make it work better, we'd love to hear from you. So hit us up in the comments or check out nerdswithfriendspodcast.com. I guess I should put that oh, cool. Our logo's not up there. That's fine. It's just been a great day. But nerdswithfriendspodcast.com is a little contact page. We'd love to hear from you if you have some tips on that.
If you actually do know how to make it work, tell us, because actually we have a couple guests that we want to line up.
Yeah.
But one of why we haven't got them on yet is because we don't want this that's been happening to happen during the interview. So
yeah, I think we might have to go back to the old school way of doing it for that. So we'll see what happens. But Christian, as always, thanks for dealing with all these technical issues with me. I appreciate you. To all the nerds out there, remember, you're not alone. You're with friends. This is Nerds with Friends. Thank you and good night.